It was good, PTC fam. I have my Ace here. Ace, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Gerald Walker. Nice to meet you.
All right, now we're coming in for week 3 of our MC4090 weekly reviews. Today's topic is mass shootings. Is it inevitable? Now, we have been reading about like this one article that described mass shootings as being inevitable and something that cannot be avoided, even though it was a satirical article writing about it. Even though the USA is known as the only country where it's constantly a threat, yet we consider it to be inevitable, even though other countries don't have to deal with it. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I want to say it has to do with our gun laws. I know that America, they're a lot more lenient as far as gun laws, our Second Amendment right to bear arms. I think that has a lot of play in it. But I also feel that even if we were stricter on gun laws, it would help to some extent, but there would still be a threat just because I feel like it's kind of a stigma, like it's almost embedded into our culture, which is not a good thing, but it is what it is. I wouldn't say that I feel like mass shootings are inevitable. There needs to be a lot of change that needs to happen so that it becomes less of a threat, and it's not something that's going to happen like within the next year or two. Like it's going to take at least a generation to fix that issue.
And what would you say are any steps that you can think of that we should take?
I don't want to get political, but I do think there should be stricter gun laws. I understand why that can be a bad thing as well. I know a lot of times they happen in schools. There should be a lot more security because you can really walk into a school as a student and not be checked at all at a lot of like public schools, public institutions. Big events like like concerts or just large gatherings. There's not always security that really checks and enforces that kind of thing well enough. So I think those are just small steps we could take.
Now, time for a little bit of an out-of-pocket thought. So, admiration for guns is kind of ingrained into our culture. When we were talking about mass shootings in class, a peculiar thought came across my head. Possibly the government does not want to actually shut down mass shootings and crack down on them because the sheer fact that our untrained citizens are able to cause that much havoc to our own country. What would happen if any other country attempted to try ours?
So, like it's like war propaganda, basically, what you're saying.
Yes, in a way, because a lot of people will talk about like that Texas alone could handle a small country by themselves, not to mention the entire U.S. And that's only the untrained citizens, not even the trained citizens who that make up the armed forces. So that's one thought that came across my mind. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I will say that the government, works in mysterious ways. We can't exactly say like what the government is thinking or their motives behind anything they really do. We've seen in the past, the government doesn't always put the average citizen on the top of their priority list. But with that being said, I was going to say, I just personally want to believe that the government doesn't care so little about individual lives. We're talking about like mass shootings happen at schools and stuff. They care so little about even a child's life that they would use something like that to, basically be a warning to other countries that, hey, this is what our untrained civilians can do. So no attacks. Like, that's so, I know like a lot of people believe the government to be so twisted and evil. And I believe there are evil, not evil, but like not exactly benevolent ways of the government. But to say they would just turn a blind eye to the killing of civilians and even like young children, I just personally would like to believe that's not the case. But I can't sit here and prove that it's not. So, everybody can have their own opinion, but personally, I don't believe that's true. In part because I don't want to believe that's true. That would be crazy. Yeah.
That would be a pretty cynical thing to do.
Yeah, that means.
One last question. We were presented with a mix of fiction and nonfiction in one of the stories we read. And it was basically this one, I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. So, basically this company called Onion, they wrote a story on like mass shootings. And it was basically like mass shooting happened at blah, many people died. It is completely inevitable because blah, blah, and then insert just one same person's quote that they reuse every single time. And then it would just be like basically a one paragraph blurb about that.
And so the purpose of it was what exactly?
Their whole idea was that through repetition, showing that it's a common theme, that it shouldn't be happening. And it's just like...
So are they trying to say like, they're trying to condition people to believe it's truly inevitable? Is that what it is?
No.
Okay. And so you're asking what my thoughts are on providing that, doing that?
Yeah, it's like their technique of doing so.
Well, for one, I guess I don't agree with it because it's all fiction, right? Like they're providing.
No, it was a mix of fiction and non-fiction.
Well, still, they're providing it to the public, right? At any point does the public know that some of it's fiction or not? No, right? So personally,
that's a great question.
So personally, I believe that they shouldn't have done that because all they're doing, not all they're doing, they're providing misinformation. Like they're just, if they're supposedly a reputable source, like they're just providing misinformation. Or if the whole point was just to get data back, like they're still using. I don't know how they get data back then unless they have like a comment section or something.
Well, the point wasn't to get data back. Like the non-fiction part was like all the information on the actual mass shooting. Like, it would always be about the actual mass shooting that happened.
Right.
They would just run the story back. But there would be like fictional aspects in there. I believe that was more so towards like the quote.
Well, ultimately, my opinion is anything that you're relaying information or news about a serious subject and you add any type of fiction, like I don't believe that's correct. That's my opinion.